Mother Earth is connected to the light ring that surrounds the planet, like the aura of the planet. So the fifth dimensional or sixth dimensional understanding, or the light body of of Mother Earth, is that light. And then that light is the communication of external planetary communication coming through that filter of light onto the planet. And then it's the energy and the essence and the vibration of Mother Earth that manifests the earth. So when you think of Mother Earth, you may think of nature and grass and trees and mountains and water and sky. But that's the manifestation, or the translation of what that light ring around the planet, what that message is. So Mother Earth is the manifestation, is the result of that light. But because it's such a strong essence in terms of the planetary alignment, and the communication is so clear in messaging, it's formed its own energy, it's formed its own, let's say, persona of Mother Nature, of a feminine divine energy. So when we talk about, being grateful for Mother Nature or being connected to nature, we are directly communicating to the aura, the light ring of the planet. And where does that communication, or where does that get stored? It gets stored in the light ring, which is always moving, growing and expanding, and into the ether. So the ether is not just around you. You're your light body manifest into a physical being in what you selected in this incarnation. It's the same as the planet. That's a light being that selected to incarnate and to hold space to be a planet. So they're just showing me like warping reality, because this understanding and this information is warping the reality of what you know as a concept. Because just like you are non-physical and a physical aspect, so is the planet. And to think that the planet, which you love and feel and touch and are connected to, is also non-physical, then you always are entied with the non-physical aspect of yourself and with everything else around you. And the whole point of this message is for you to understand that your communication through your feet, through your connection to the planet or to your connection to Earth, is so vital, because that brings the expansion to your light body as well as the planetary light body. So when we say collective consciousness, that foot to ground, that connection to the receiver, with your receiver to consciousness, is growth and expansion. And that is potential. So it's not just that you need to go to the quantum field to understand what the potentialities are. It is within you, it is around you, it is in your light body, which is connected to your physical body. And so is Earth, and so is that trees, and so is that dogs, and so is that cat, and so is the person that's next to you. So it's almost like your light body is living a future version of yourself, or a parallel reality of yourself, in its light form. And that's the law of potential. You must have a light body in order to be physical. It cannot go without. If there is no light body, you have no physicality, you have no life source in your physical body. So you need your light body attachment, and the communication that happens between you and your light body is not through talking, it's through meditation, through downloads, through past life regressions, through experiences in karmic cycles, it's through your ancestors, it's through feelings, it's through song, it's through creation, it's through dance, it's through the water, it's through the foods, because everything is communicating with you. You feel like eating French fries for a reason. And it's not to say that you don't have the choice to eat those French fries. Of course you do. But the fact that it's in your energy, it's in your mind, it's in your light body, it's in communication, it's in connection, is for a reason. So it's not a mundane choice, even though it may feel like that. If you can see that there's light communication in every decision, in every movement, in every interaction, you will learn to be and live the divine self. You will see the divinity in everything and everyone around you, because it can only be divine if it's in contact with you. It can only be divine if it's alive, because the light is the divinity. It's the evidence of divinity. Your light lives on. The physical body is the one that's quote unquote deteriorates, but your light lives on, which means it's divine. It's divine creation, and it's always co-creating with every single thing around it. And what is so important for you to understand in terms of your connection to nature is that you're not connecting to nature as a person or as an energy or as a source for yourself to ground. You are being called to the mountains. You are being called to the water. You're being called to recode and to reconnect with your light body. And the more that you do that, the more the earth expansion will happen, because the collective expansion is happening. And so the aura of the planet, the light body of the planet that you can physically see, will start to change and expand. And when there is planetary movement of the earth or the skies or the fires or the waters, it's only to balance the circular. That's the only reason for it. Cleansing timelines, perhaps, but overall balancing the collective. So if you can see the divinity in those movements of the earth, in the movements of the waters and the fires and things like that, you can see that you are connected to that as well. And if you're at a dimensional reality in your life right now where you can feel the trees, you can hear the messages in the wind, you can feel the heartbeat on the soil, you feel cleansed and coated in the waters, then you are already in light transmission and transaction of communication between yourself and your light body, between the light body of the planet and your light body, for constant upgrade and communication. So let's go back to the quantum field, because just like there is misconception about Mother Nature in some instances, there may be some misconception about the quantum field, because the quantum field is in every cell of your DNA that's in your physical body. It's the light that holds your cell together. So if you are only made of quantum, it's not somewhere you must go. It is already within you. And if it's already within you, then this is the law of potential. The understanding that the quantum field is in every single cell equals the law of potential. And the law of potential is knowing that you are the creator, you are the divinity, and so is everybody else. So what else can you create? What else can you be part of co-creating? What other unlimited potentials can you bring and draw to you into this reality as an example of manifestation, or as an example of the spiral and how it works, or as an example of divine healing, whatever it is whatever means something to you. But the law of potential is the understanding that the quantum field is within you, it's within every cell. So you don't necessarily need to go somewhere. You can, if that makes more sense in your understanding of dimensional realities right now. But you could also just go within, deep within, find a cell and go through that cell, and you're there. And within the quantum field is the magic. The law of potential opens up another dimensional reality to you, just like magic opens up another reality to you. You could walk around and call everything in your life magical, okay? A different version, a different reality of that is that it's manifestation. And a different version of that is I'm lucky. And a different version of that is I get anything that I want. And then you can work back up. I can get anything I want. I'm just a lucky person. I can manifest on demand. I am a magician. So if you can see the layers of dimensional realities and understanding and vibrational context in each of those layers, you can see and understand how difficult it is to get out of them, because it almost like becomes your identity. I'm a lucky person or I'm an unlucky person. But also you can see very clearly what reality you're in and where potentially you could be stuck and you need to move out of. So the magic lies within the law of potential. If you don't understand the quantum field, if you don't understand that it's within you, if you don't understand that you're the divine creator, then you will not unlock the understanding of the law of potential. If you are somewhere where you're just getting started with the law of attraction, it's the point to start. That's where everybody can start, because in your dimensional reality, you need to see to believe, you need to feel to believe, you need to witness to believe. That's why in an event where you see someone being healed, then you are healed. And it's not just because you're in the energy of vibration of healing. Yes, that has something to do with it, but you've seen it. And that person could also be a version of you. So you're in the understanding, well, if it can happen to them, it can happen to me. If you are beyond that understanding and you are creating so that other people can look at you and be like, well, if it can happen to them, it can happen to me. If you're the example, then you already understand the law of potential. You just don't maybe know what it is that you're doing. And the law of potential is so important in terms of expansion, because there's a lot of people that we can feel right now that are connecting with the earth and connecting with the water and connecting with fire and connecting with the sky and connecting with their galactic beings and their angels. And there's all of this connection, and it's amazing and etheric and completely exciting. And then what happens next? Because now I can talk to my angels all the time. Now I have beings in my bedroom on the regular. Now I can connect to the mantis beings with a thought. I'm in constant 5-way communication with etheric beings and my ancestors. I understand that. What do I do with this information? The point of that is expansion, because now that you have this connection, you need to understand what you can do with this connection, because that's the whole point of the potentials. You've seen it, you've believed it, you've heard it, you've felt it. You've done all of the physical things, you've done all of the light things in terms of like the angelic realm and galactic realm, and possibly magic realm. Now what? And the spiral of consciousness and the communication and expansion of the planet is where you're at. So now what do you do with all of this communication, right? The galactic world and the angelic realms and your ancestors and the past, present, future selves and your light being is reflective of generally where your energy is at. So as you expand, so do they. So for example, when you're a child, you may see one specific angel. And then when you're a teenager, you have another angel that comes into your life. And then when you're an adult, maybe you have no more angels coming into your life until you reconnect. It's because they're at the energetic vibration to connect with you at where your energetic vibration is, and so on and so on. So you may be connected to Jesus as an angel and as an energetic connection, and you have no idea why until you're 50 years old and you're like, oh, I understand everything now. That's because you've come to a vibrational alignment and understanding of what that message is for you and what that connection is for you. Again, so I now connect with Jesus. So what do I do with this information? After some meditations and some understandings and going deep into the whole understanding of life, okay, I get it. What do I do with this information? And we want to make it clear that you could be as spiritual, as etheric, as seventh dimensional as you want. There's still growth. There is no finish line to this. This is why you may feel or hear, we don't really talk in years, because an angel or a galactic being in your terminology could be 300 years old, but we don't talk in those languages because it's not in vibrational alignment with actual energy. Energy doesn't have time. You have time. You're the one making that up. You're the one putting it on there. So if you still believe in that, it's time to expand beyond that. That's another topic. But what do you do with this information? So this is where you tune into the law of potential and start creating. Start creating. Because all you will do is, as you move through these vibrational expansions, you will start to connect to the inner earth beings, the water beings, more star systems that can come and connect with you and tell you more information, which is amazing. But what are you doing in this life as this version of yourself in this body? With the light connection that you have and all the connections that you do have. We feel and we understand we are repeating ourselves, but we are trying to talk on a soul level to everybody that listens to this so that they align with one specific situation for their transformational moment. So, law of potential is where expansion happens. It's where you understand all of your connections, you understand your light body, you understand your physicality, and it's time to go into the quantum field and really start creating. The divinity in creation is bringing light to your idea or bringing light to the potential. And allow the law of potential to work for you, meaning the law of potential will co-create with you in a sense that it already mimics all of the potentials that could be with your creation, and the most divine expression is the one that will manifest, or the most divine expression of that potential is the one that you are most connected to at the vibration that you're at for it to manifest. The understanding of potentiality is expansion of your mind, because there's not one thing there. There's not 3 choices of milk. There is not 5 choices of potato. It is unlimited potentiality of every aspect in every dimension for anything that is possible.
Wow. Thank you for sharing all of that, because I know exactly that I understand the reference of people don't know what to do, and it's something we hear all the time, like, I'm playing with the angels and the galactics and all of that, but then I got to go be human. And the law of potential is the now applying this to the being human. It's not separate, it's one thing, and we have to merge them. And it sounds like what you're saying is the law of potential is that merger, and allowing the law of potential to work in your life will bring you all the potentials where those things are actually in your human life, in the humanness of being on earth.
Right. So we'll give the example of the milk or the potatoes again, because this is something and everybody can relate to. How many not brands, versions of milk do you remember as a child growing up?
Like 1% full cream, 2%.
As you were a child.
As I was a child, it might have just been like full cream and 1% or something like that, or
Okay,
half cream.
let's say 2.
Yeah,
As a teenager,
it expanded to about 3 or 4.
okay. Now as an adult,
I don't even drink regular milk, but just the milk alternatives, there's 10, 5 or 10.
so where did that come from? We didn't grow other species of cows. So there's so much potential in the one version of this idea of milk. And within the time, the potentiality has gone from 1%, 2% skim, full cream, heavy cream, to soy, coconut, almond, pistachio, cashew,
Pea. Yeah, I've seen
pea,
that now.
and so many other expansions of this one expression that already had several expressions. So the cow didn't change.
Yes, that's an interesting one, because
Okay, let's take potatoes. So growing up as a child, again, what kind of potatoes do you remember?
Idaho potatoes. That's really it.
A
Just
brown
rustic,
potato
yeah,
that came
rustic
from the
brown
ground,
potato.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then growing up,
We started getting into sweet potatoes, and then and regular potatoes, and multiple different regular small potatoes, gem potatoes, that type of thing.
there's Hasselback, there's baby gem potatoes, there's purple, there's yellow, there's orange, there's sweet, there's yams, there's expressions of potatoes. Again, a potato did not change, the cow did not change, but the light expressions allowed them to have different versions of reality of the production. So, how it manifests to us is different.
Yes, I get it. And the more we ex and I think why is so hard for people to see, or where the challenge for people to see this is, we vilified some of those versions. So it was like, no, 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 we shouldn't be doing that, because that's not necessarily right. Or soy for a long time was vilified as it's not milk. And
Okay,
those
yes.
type of things, I think,
But the
are,
vibration of seeking alternative
yes.
was so strong that then it then created 15 other versions in one day. So the potential is there. it's matching your vibration for the potential for it to then express itself. You don't have to do anything. You just have to have the idea, meet the vibrational alignment of that idea for it to manifest. And it will manifest in a way that you would never ever think of squeezing a pistachio for milk.
True. And so we have to start being open to potentials no matter how they show up based on the intention or the idea of what a thing is, not
Enough
based on the form that we've once found it in.
enough people wanted a low carb version of potato. That's all. And so that's how they grew. Just like enough people want another version of electricity. Check it out. So you don't have to do anything. You just have to have the strong enough intention, go to the quantum field to match the vibration of the potential reality for it to come into your experience. And I know that, that's a 1 + 1 = 2 type of statement and expression, but the overcomplication of it is you.
It is that simple.
It is that simple. You're just getting in the way, or you're not being clear enough with your idea, because talking to angels and galactic beings and getting upgraded and opening the third eye and working with Kundalini breath is so life altering and so changing that becomes enough. That becomes your new version of yourself. And the only higher version of that expression is to become a high priestess, or to become a shaman, or to do this work and to teach others. And yes, that may be your life path and your passion. But in terms of light expansion and constant communication to the planet's light body, where are you at there?
Yeah. And I'm seeing like that is the shamanism and all that may be your path and that may be your highest passion. But while we're also here having a earthly human experience, and we can allow infinite potentials to come through in our quote unquote everyday life, so that the shaman and those experiences are not just when you're teaching, it's your entire
If you
experience
can
rounded
look
out.
at every situation as expression of energy, you're walking in your divinity. And we understand that there are still people going back and forth about working with their ego, or with their own inner beliefs that they are questioning now, or they might be even starting with, how can my finger heal itself, but then cancer cannot. And if you're starting to have those questions, and you're starting on this pathway, you're starting because so many people are already vibrationally doing this, so it's going to eventually be in your energy. So then the fear comes in. Well, if everybody can heal themselves, then what happens to all the doctors, and what happens to all the pharmacy, and what happens to the education system, and what happens? I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I will just come back to my world. And that's okay. That's why the angels are there for you. And that's why the communication is there for you, because they are there to support you in your energetic growth for that experience in yourself. They're there to heal the traumas for you and work with you in holding more light.
And this is what the Andromedan beings meant by use us in a way that makes sense.
Right. When you're in a dark room and you turn on a light, and you're in a dark room and you go into a room of light and you slowly open the door. There's like one line of light, and then as you open the door, it gets more and more and more and more and more. Most of you are on the one line of light, thinking that you need to be healed, or the light will heal you, or a light worker will come into your life. And then as you open the door, you are stepping into more and more light until you're in full light, and there's always going to be the shadow, always, or else there's no human experience. However, the more you open up that door and the more light comes in, you realize that you are your own light. And the collective energy and angelic galactic support that's around you is for your greatest light. Just like you watch other people live their lives in movies, angels and galactic beings are watching you like you're a movie. You're the hero in the show that they're rooting for, that they're supporting, that they're creating pathways for, that they're saying, use me for help, use me for help. I'm here, look at me, I did that. Not in an ego way, but if you understand what I'm saying, it's the same thing, because it's only reflecting where you're at.
Yeah. So I love the analogy of the different dimensional realities and expressions of, like, you're a magician, you do manifestation. I'm a lucky person. I get everything I want, because the way you explain it, it completely makes sense. Like, oh, those are the same dimensional realities of the same kind of discipline or the same idea. But until you explained it, it didn't quite make sense as those were the same. Is almost everything that we understand like this?
Yes. Yes. So you can only live your life as a lucky person if you believe you're a lucky person. And we could do a test on this. Put in your YouTube video a quiz on, do you consider yourself a lucky person? Do you consider yourself that everything's always working out for you? Do you consider yourself a magician? Do you consider yourself a divine creator? And you will see where people are at. No, I can't call myself a magician. Or I can't call myself a lucky person. And that will show directly which dimensional reality expression they're at and what's happening in their life.
And just understanding it's just a dimensional reality expression.
It's just a
It's not.
timeline, just a belief that you've created, which is then unfolded in a timeline to match that belief. So if you change your beliefs, you'll change your patterns. If you change your patterns, you'll change your timeline. If you change your timeline, your life changes.
Yeah, it keeps coming back to this that we spoke about multiple times. Like, it's all one thing, just different expressions of that one thing.
Exactly. Different expressions. And the light beings that surround you are matching in that expression and are here to expand you on that. They may not necessarily be needed for your next expression. So now, okay, you've gone from, I think I'm a lucky person, to what was the next one?
I get everything that
I
I
get
want.
everything that I want. So now you don't need certain angels or galactic support around you anymore, because now you really believe that you get everything you want. And then next vibrational alignments will step in for greater expression of that. So now that you think that you get everything that you want, we're going to show you how much you can get everything you want, so you can cement in that belief, so that you can change your patterns, so you change your timeline, so you change your life.
So this brings up something that I was looking at this week, or last week or something like that, where I started making this connection that there are also dimensional realities for the beings that people connect with. And because they would be connecting with a being that I've connected with, but it's a different version of that being. And I don't necessarily relate to that version, but I relate to, like, a different version of that being. So I was wondering if also plays out this way, where they were the being that they need for their vibration, and that was the version of the being I needed for for my vibration, for example.
So sometimes that can happen. It's very rare that that happens, because the light energy doesn't move in vibration. It maintains the light and it maintains its own vibration. But the expression of where you're at is how you're going to interpret the message. So, for example, you could have somebody say, my angels told me that I need to invest in this property. And that, it's going to be a life-changing experience for me. And your energy reading of that expression is, I think they're just asking you to look in that area, not buy that specific house. So that would be your interpretation.
So yes, I'm getting it. So it's not the being changed. The being holds the same vibration. It's our
No, the
interpretation of the
beings
message.
that come through for Catherine all the time are saying the same thing over and over and over again in different ways until she gets it.
Yeah. So it's our interpretation. So
An example was just 5 seconds ago when we said the same thing over and over again in different ways, so that other people can understand at least one version of what we're saying. It's still the same light. It's still the same love. It's still the same transmission. It's how you can and are open to interpreting. You can only interpret the message based on your light.
which is why two people could channel the same energy and have different interpretations
Right, they
of the
can
same
have a
message.
similar underlying message. There's a lot of channelers that channel Angel Raphael or Saint Germain or Mother Mary, and the essence of the light is there, the essence of the message is there. The wordings are different because you're using a different translation. You're using a different program.
Different interpreter.
Right. And you both have experience with working and living in countries that don't speak English as a first language, and how miscommunication and interpretation can be completely, in your experiences, not what I asked for. The example that comes to Catherine's mind is when you ordered onion rings in Macau in China, and you thought they would be breaded and fried onion rings, and what came to you was just raw sliced white rings of onion as a
Yes.
side dish.
Yes.
So are they wrong?
No, they actually gave me rings of onions. Yes.
So it's the interpretation. That's all.
Yeah, and having now that you that analogy of that understanding of us traveling around and the interpretation has been so very different and vastly different based on countries and understandings and communities
Yeah.
and the way they see it. Even when I first went to Australia, I didn't understand a such thing as calamari rings. I thought they were onion rings, so I just assumed it would be onions because rings breaded
Looks like onion rings.
are onion rings for me coming from America. But so yes, they multiple interpretations. So I understand that, and this is why so many people can channel the same energy in their messages.
Their messages can be different, but the underlying essence, if you really look at it as just light vibrational transmission coming into your awareness, that's enough. And then think about your absorption of the information. Is there judgment? Is there ego? Is there denial? Is there excitement? Is there limitation? Because you're also not just open to receiving the information. You might be open like this, and then they say something like, oh, I don't agree with that one. But
Yes.
where is that coming from? Can you be open to receiving all the information, however it is, and just trust that it's in love and light, and your light body is absorbing and giving you the information that you need? It might not be the whole 45 minutes of the channel. It just might be 4 words, but that's what you needed. Can you trust and surrender that the information that you need will always come to you?
And this plays in, and this is the law of potential working.
Correct. Correct.
So in what other ways can we assist people in
So,
discovering?
goddess energy is very similar. You may get messages from gods or goddesses who you have not interpreted as an angel yet. Let's just say Isis or Sekhmet or Ra. Okay, so these energies may come to you when you need strength, when you need ignition, when you need the fire, when you need to stand up for yourself. But that could be translated as aggression or um, fight, this kind of energy, because I'm not interpreting that that the inner strength is where I need to work.
Yes, yes, I've seen that actually play out with people before.
So it's the messaging that you may find on Wikipedia about that goddess that you're trying to understand, or you don't know much about it, but you know that they came around. So why would they come around? And then my interpretation is, oh, I need to have a more take no prisoners type of attitude. But I don't take the time to just connect to that goddess and ask. I go into the law of potential. I know you're there. You're coming to me. Please communicate. What is it that I need to see? What is it that you're showing me? Because everything is a sign. Everything is a sign. Everything is a sign. Everything is a sign. It's just trying to communicate with you. Whether you acknowledge the communication or not is on you.
And that's a good point. To connect when these energies come around, connect with them and ask them to guide you rather than just going to look. Because that interpretation that has been, and we've experienced this because there's been beings that have come through that we've never heard of before, but
And
not
the
just,
first thing you do is Google it.
yes, but not just we've never heard of it, nobody has ever heard of it because there's like two lines on this,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah.
And so we're not actually getting anything from looking it up. But we've had enough awareness to understand that we can't find it now. And so now it's like just connect back with them.
Or what you find might not feel in alignment with how the feeling was that you just had. So, for example, we'll use one that just happened a week ago where a lioness version of came to Catherine, and the lion had like crystal gemstones and was just completely beautiful and wanted to connect to Catherine. So it's basically like, okay, that's like, what other lioness goddesses do I know? Because it felt like goddess energy, and which do I know that holds a lot of crystals. But the more meditation and the more times this lioness came around, it was not an energy of a lioness. It was the energy of it was a queen,
Queen of Sheba.
the Queen of Sheba coming through the lioness. So when you Google Queen of Sheba, you see her with a lion and a lioness, but those are versions of herself, which has never been explained before. So she could come through to you as the lion or the lioness or as Queen of Sheba. But if she's coming through as the divine feminine lioness version of herself, gifting crystals to you, you have to kind of be like, okay, how does this relate? What does this mean? You're not going to find that on Wikipedia or Google, and you might not find enough information on a specific person unless you ask them, what are these gifts? Who are you? Why are you in my vibration and energy? How can I be of service to you? How can you be of service to me? What does this mean?
Yes, and those are great questions. Because generally we shut the door and just go, who is this? Do I know you? Why do I know you? And that's pretty much where the questioning kind of stops.
Yeah.
So,
But in this particular experience, it was so beautiful and so touching and the exchange was just magical, that you want to stay in that moment forever. So how do I get more of that? How do I stay in that vibration?
And that's where the law of potential comes in. And we start
I just
living.
created a potential where I connected with the lioness of Queen of Sheba, or the energy of Queen of Sheba, who's gifting me her gifts. That didn't happen in this reality. Happened somewhere else, you know? So how do I get into that vibration and stay in that vibration and bring those gifts back to me in this version of this reality, so that I can walk as light as that version of myself?
Yes, I get it. I get it.
They
So
just keep showing me like vortex, like your brain's going through a vortex with this information and with this understanding. And what's so interesting is they're saying that people will have so many examples of what's happened to them, but they just think it's a transcendental moment, or it's a transformational moment, or it was one time in extreme fasting and meditation. But actually, you can have those moments all the time in the potentiality that it is there for you. You just don't believe that your life can be that all the time. Because if you change your beliefs, you change your patterns, you change your life.
and that's where the law of potential becomes the power, the magic. I had actually a bunch of questions, and like I feel like I can't get to any of them because my brain's trying to comprehend everything
Yeah.
that you just explained.
Yeah. Yeah. Just think of it as, there's a lot of like buzzwords now about recoding yourself, or recoding your DNA, or rewiring your brain and things like that, which is absolutely somewhere to start with. But your brain is already rewired and recoded. So, how much more is there? There's infinite potential in this space. And remember, you're beyond this space because you're light funneling through. So, where is the connection? Here, here, and here. This is where it happens, not here. Nothing happens here until it happens there. Eat the french fries, whatever it is, go outside, go to the toilet. All of these things is messages that are coming through. Where do you think your messages are coming from? You have a whole neuro system that's a message device. So yes, you have shortcuts on your desktop, on your neuron connectivities. You have shortcuts, you have hard wires, you have modems, you have all of that stuff going on. But new information that's flooding through, where are the messages coming from? And if you're only reflecting what you're seeing all the time, then you are going to live the same life over and over and over again, and the patterns will not change. But if you take that away and you surrender to this light here, and you live in the law of potentiality, you live in the law of attraction, you live in as a divine creator, as yourself, then it can only be a divine created lifestyle or life.
So you stop living the reflection of what you see, and you start living the funnel of your divinity.
Why do you think all the divine beings spent so much time alone? Or in silo, or in the forest, or in a cave, or whatever? That's where transformation happens, because you have no reflection of engagement, or being disengaged from your pure connection of light.
Yes, and now we're at the space where we can just funnel it through and allow our surroundings to become the potentials of the funnel. And that's us tapping into the law of potential at any moment, every day, whether it's going to the grocery store or being our shaman self.
Correct. Correct. Use that example of your grocery store, the milk or the potatoes. The next time you go to the grocery store, know that everything is working out for you. You are a lucky person. You can create magic. Everything is always working out for you. So you will always find what you're looking for.
Yeah, and I think you understanding that it's magic and they're different dimensional realities of the same thing, because we automatically assume that magic has to be big, this gigantic expression of something, when magic is every day, all the time, depending on how you view the world and how, whether you're creating it or reflecting something that somebody else is doing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And there's so many key takeaways from this transmission, but the main thing is to really understand that the earth has a light body, the planet has a light body, and that's in communication with you, and that aura or that ring is constantly talking to the lands, the air, the water, the fire, the skies, as well as that light communication around the planet is the communication to other planets and other star systems of where we're at and what we're doing and what the vibrational alignment of the planet is.
And our light body is in full communication with that as well, and we can live in the law of potential and assist in that communication back and forth.
Right.
Yes, this is another one that I will have to watch multiple times as well. As well as I encourage everyone else to watch it multiple times.
Yeah. Well, there's the spiral is the reflection of the information that's coming out as well. So it's not just this is what it is. It's this is what it is, and then 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 this is what it is. And then you follow that energy if that's what's in alignment to you at the point of time.
Thank you for sharing all of this. Is there anything else you would like to add? Even though you summed it up very well. But my questions, we'll have to do questions another time. My questions escape me because I'm trying to really process all of this and understand this.
The only thing that we would like to address is people are still asking for contact dates and when is contact going to happen, and what ships are above us right now, and can I get in contact with a ship personally? How can I do that? There's a lot of energy and questioning about this. So just to share, there are always ships around your skies that are in a different vibrational density, which means you may or may not be able to see it for what it is. Your eye upgrades that are happening and the itchiness and the dryness and the irritation around the eyes is opening you up to another dimensional reality for you to envision and for you to start seeing. So that dot in the sky looks like a bigger dot, and then it looks like a triangle, then it looks like a ship kind of thing, depending on what your vibrational dimensional reality is. However, you need to be in a state of mind and in an openness and a surrenderness to be able to contact without fear. Fear will come up because of the storyline, timeline, and visual impact that you've had your whole expansion and your whole life. What the ship would look like, how it's going to make you feel, will it wipe your brain? These are real questions that people are asking. Will I be taken on board? All of these things are great questions to have, but to know that you are in full control of how much interaction and what interaction would entail. So you can only give permission for what you are open to be doing and interacting with at the time. And that permission will never be dismissed or not adhered to. It's respected into the utmost level of care, love, and intelligence. So there are ships around. If you would like to connect, we would ask you to go into meditation and ask to connect to the next available ship that's around your area, and envision yourself connecting through meditation, and then see what that brings up for you. And if that brings up fear, then it's time to release that fear, surrender that fear, and then keep going until the fear is no longer there. And then you'll be able to start to see things. In terms of a contact date, this has changed multiple times. We would say that you would make contact with your inner earth beings prior to external earth beings, in which will happen in the next 1 to 4 years, maybe even 5 years, depending on the timeline. Some of you already have connected with the inner earth beings, but there is a lot of fear from both sides about how this interaction and how this coexistence will happen. But this will be more, we feel that this will be more likely to happen first. We do have a contact date which was set for 2028. However, the date is always changing based on timeline. The more people are in fear, the timeline changes. The more people that want to connect, the timeline changes, and this is in flux. Because this is in a lot of people's vibration right now, because they are having some experiences and are not able to integrate and understand what those experiences are. So we would just like to say one more time that you are in control and you give permission to what you would like to engage with, and that is considered to be the utmost respect and integrity and honor and love. So there is nothing to be afraid of, and if there is fear, then we would encourage you to look at that within yourself.
Thank you.